Labour deputies appeal to Dick Spring to remain as leader, but it's still expected he'll resign. The French truckers blockade, commercial traffic is brought to a standstill across France. And new benefits from VHI, they'll cost more, and Bupa says its cover is still cheaper. Good evening, welcome to 6-1. Also in the programme this evening, the judge in the trial of the British au pair Louise Woodward comes under more pressure to overturn the jury's murder verdict.
Britain's Foreign Secretary Robin Cook in Dublin for a day of talks with the government ahead of Britain's EU presidency. And in sport, we talk to 3 of Ireland's new rugby caps for the game against New Zealand.
But first, there have been appeals from many members of the Parliamentary Labour Party today for Dick Spring to remain as leader. They follow strong indications that he's decided to step down after 15 years, so a new leader can take on the job of rebuilding the party. Mr. Spring is expected to tell his deputies and senators on Wednesday that he's resigning with immediate effect. The main contenders for the leadership are Ruairí Quinn, the deputy leader, and Brendan Howlin, who's the party's whip.
Throughout the day, Dick Spring has come under huge pressure from members of his party not to vacate the leadership. But it's not thought likely that he'll be deflected from the course of action most believe he has decided on. On Wednesday, he'll tell his parliamentary party that the time has come for new leadership as Labour begins the job of rebuilding after 2 significant electoral setbacks. Already, Labour is making preparations for a leadership change. But the 2 main contenders were adhering to protocol and not publicly declaring their intentions.
He is the best leader we've ever had. He has my full and unreserved support, and I think he has still got a contribution to make. But that's for him to decide, and I will respect and support whatever decision he makes.
I rang Dick yesterday to say to him that he had my fullest support, and as party whip to say to him that, as far as I could determine, the overwhelming support of the parliamentary party and the broad party to continue the great job he's done for 15 years. But it's a matter ultimately for himself.
In his 15 years as leader, Dick Spring took Labour to its greatest successes, moving it towards the political centre. But under a new leadership, the party will now have to decide whether it should reposition itself. Michael D. Higgins, who appeared to rule himself out of the leadership contest, said he was more interested in the direction of the party.
We are not in the business of pretending that we will be more humane managers of a model of the economy and society that someone else constructed. We're for a different kind of society. And I have to sadly tell people who are very, very wealthy, who seem to think that they're entitled to a tax reduction the same as those who are on the lower pay. No, you're not. While children are waiting for remedial teachers and special teachers and children with special needs and health. No, you're not.
For his part, Brendan Howlin, with an eye on the leadership contest, reflected on how Labour had become a modern left-of-centre party.
But we have become blurred in recent times. The message is not as sharp as it should be, and there is a job of work to be done in restructuring the party to be sharp, to be inclusive.
When Dick Spring looks back on his ministerial career, he will probably regard his period in foreign affairs as among the main highlights. Today, Britain's Foreign Secretary had this to say about him.
I value Dick Spring both as a close friend and as a good colleague. He was extremely helpful to us in opposition by explaining to us the role of the presidency and showing us how the Irish presidency worked, and a very effective and competent presidency of the European Union it was, and partly through